Hey, Kevin here, Skylabs, bringing you another video. Labor Day weekend speaker tier list. Again, keep in mind, I have not heard every pair of speakers manufactured by all these manufacturers. So I'm going to try and do the best I can to make the best opinion I can based on what models I have heard. There's a link in the description if you want to place these yourself and post them up. But I'm just going to go off my opinion on what I've experienced with these speaker manufacturers. So this is just fun. Let's get into it. Let's see what happens. All right, starting with Advent. I love Advent. Amazing. Advent definitely being one of the premier East Coast brands from the 70s. Has to go at least B tier. At least we'll start that way. Altec Lansing. Got some West Coast here. I haven't heard a lot of Altec Lansing speakers. I'll just put that out there. I've never owned a set personally. I'm going to put them in B category. We'll start there. Bang & Olufsen, I really like their speakers. I think everybody knows I'm not the biggest fan of the turntables and amplifiers, but the speakers are a different ball game in my opinion. Like the Zero, what are they? The S75s, S45s. Those are really nice speakers. We're going to go C category for now. BIC, I've had a few pairs of these. I believe I think they're labeled Venturi. I could be wrong on that, but we'll go D category. Just start them off there. Bose, I'm going to go C category. I really like the 901s in the right room. I like the 601s and the 301s in the right spot. Can be good. I know there's a lot of hate out there for Bose. I'm not sure if some of it's warranted, so I'm going to put them in C. Boston Acoustics, really big fan of the A series, 100s, 200s, 400s. I'll go B category. It's Labor Day weekend, and we're going to do a 10% off our shirts and hat sale today and tomorrow only. So head over to skylabsaudio.com/shop. Grab yourself a shirt or a hat, get 10% off. Save yourself a little bit of money because we appreciate it. We appreciate you watching this video. B&W, we've had a few sets. They might be a little bit highbrow for me. I think they're a little bit on the dull side, personally. I kind of like speakers that have a little bit more personality, and I get it. I know these things are built extremely well, and I know a lot of people love them. But I'm going to go B category with them. I know a lot of people would have them in A category for sure. Bozak, unfortunately with Bozak, I have technically never heard a set. I've had a couple sets and they've always had bad tweeters or have just been too far gone to restore. And so I've never heard a set. I hear they're incredible, but I'm not going to place those. We included some of these into the tier list so that you could place them if you wanted to. I'm just not going to fabricate an opinion based on what I've seen online or read online. I don't think that's fair. So I'm going to leave Bozak's out of it. ADS Braun, huge fan, going top spot. Canton, I really like Canton's. Everything I've heard from them have been great. Dahlquist, I've only heard DQ10s, so I don't have a huge opinion on them. I love the DQ10s, but as far as brand wide, I don't have an opinion on them as a brand. I could tell you about the DQ10s, but that's it. So I'm going to put them in the C category. I might bump them up. Infinity, I know they made maybe some of the best speakers ever made. I'd love to hear Paul McGowan's IRS towers. I bet those are incredible. And the emit tweeters from the 70s are really nice tweeters, those ribbon tweeters, but they're kind of getting to be pretty scarce at this point. I'm going to go B category. That B row might get kind of busy, and then I might have to kind of juggle things around at the end. Same with Dynaco. I don't think they had a long run with speakers, at least as long as they did with amplifiers, and I could be totally wrong on that. And the ones that I have heard have been awesome, but I don't think they made a lot of models. I could be wrong. EPI. I really like EPI speakers. We get quite a few of them, at least the smaller bookshelves, but they're always good speakers. Fisher, great amplifiers. Speakers, not so much. I'm going to put them in D, and we'll play with that later maybe. JBL, that's a no-brainer. Definitely one of the most iconic American speaker brands of all time. Jensen, I actually had a pair of, I think they're Model 5s. I could be wrong on that. I know KLH obviously has Model 5s, but I think they were Model 5s. Maybe they were 6s. They were really nice. But I think the majority of the Jensens out there, at least that we see quite a bit, are the 80s cheap box. Anyway, they're going here. Kef, everything I've heard from Kef has been really nice. I do like those a lot. Kenwood, I know people like the 777s, but I don't know really. I mean, we've had a few sets of Kenwood speakers. The majority of them seem to be, the long slat, late 60s, early 70s. And then everything after that seemed almost like the Jensens, real cheap. KLH definitely goes there. Could almost go up to tier 1. I'm going to leave it there though for now. Klipsch, same thing. I don't hate Klipsch. I just don't love Klipsch. I think the Cornwalls are incredible. That's probably my favorite of the originals. Not a big fan of Heresies. I wanted to really like the little Scalas, but I think having to have a subwoofer with a speaker that big is it's kind of lame in a way. I like the KG series a lot too. We're going to leave Klipsch in B. I had a set of Leak sandwich speakers, and it sounded great. It was really cool. It had the tweeter was mounted to the grill cloth or the grill frame, and it was suspended separately from the rest of the cabinet. And then the woofer, it had a rod going to the back of the speaker. Cool design, sounded great. It could maybe go B tier, but I've only heard one set, so I'm going to leave it there. Marantz, most of the Marantz speakers we've had have been really questionable, to tell you the truth. I know the Imperial 7's supposed to be a better speaker. The ones we've had haven't been that great. Martin Logan, I've only had one. It was an electrostatic set of speakers, and they did sound good. I'm not a huge fan. I like traditional speakers that really move air, and that's just me. So I'm going to put Martin Logan in the C category. I know people that love Martin Logan, or people that have maybe experienced more Martin Logan than I have, or maybe in the right room, that would probably go A or B tier, but it's going C just because of my experience with them. Macintosh is going to go C. We've had XR 16s, 14s. I own 19s and 20s, XRT 20s. And the build quality and the craftsmanship on them is outstanding, but I don't think they were ever really known for their speakers, and they just don't really do a lot for me. So I'm going to put them there. Mission, everything from Mission I've heard has been really good. If I had heard more, I would easily bump them up to B tier, but I am a big fan of the MS50s, I think it is. Little bookshelves, those are really nice. AR is going number one spot for me, no question. Definitely one of my favorite brands. Ohm, I've only had the cheaper, more traditional bookshelf style ohms. I haven't had the really good ones, and I haven't heard the really good ones. I almost don't even want to place them, only because I don't feel like I have the right to, and that I haven't heard that many. I'm not going to. I'm going to leave ohm down there. Pioneer. I'm going to put Pioneer here. Pioneer really made some incredible speakers. I'm not a big fan of the CS 88s or 99s, although a lot of people love them. The HPM 100s I like a lot. The whole HPM line I like a lot. And I believe is the DS series. I could be wrong on that. Really rare beryllium tweeters. Those things are bonkers good. A friend of mine here in town has a set, and I went over and listened to those, and those are some of the best speakers I've ever heard. But you just don't see them. Not a lot of people know about them. Polk Audio. I'm going to go Polk Audio here. This B category is going to get busy. We've had a lot of SDA series. I've had some newer Polks that were really nice. A lot of times we get, the cheaper Polks in, and they have trouble with the tweeters. We seem to be replacing a lot of Polk tweeters. Anyway, I'm gonna leave Polk in the C category. Remember, this is just my personal opinion. This is just what I like. That's all. No big deal. Quad, never heard them. It's too bad too. I'd love to hear a pair. We've just never had them come in the door, and I've actually never seen them in person. Never heard quads, so I'm going to leave them down there. Realistic, Mach 1s, Mach 2s, obviously, Minimus 7s. Those three speakers I think are really good, but the rest of it is really weighing the rest down. So I think it's going to go with Marantz and Kenwood down there. Rogers, we've had several sets of Rogers. If I had heard more, those would probably go up into the A series. It's just that I haven't heard that many, but the ones I did listen to were amazing. There's just not that many of them here in Des Moines, Iowa. It's just not a real common speaker. RTR, I've only had one set. It was a great set of speakers. One of the guys that works here has a set of RTRs. He loves them, and I think they're one of his forever pairs. So I'm not going to put them in B category. I'll put them in C. I just haven't heard that many. But they are really cool. That's a fun speaker, RTR. Sansui, man, I love Sansui. I really do, but I hate their speakers. We talked about them a little bit ago, the AS100s and 300s. Those are amazing speakers. If they could have continued that, but they didn't. They switched over to cramming too many speakers into too small of a cabinet, and they do not do anything for me at all. I do not like them. So, but I love Sansui, so it is what it is. Sony, let's go. I know they made some good speakers. I'm not a big fan of the square ones just because I like my speakers round. I guess I'm more of a traditionalist, but yeah, I'm gonna go D for Sony. Techniques, I'm gonna do the same. I know they made some nice ones with the horns, that are mounted on top, and we had a real entry level pair of those, and those were okay. I know they made good speakers. I just haven't had any experience with them. Most of the Technique speakers we've seen around here came with a whole 80s setup, and they're just kind of entry level, almost white van speakers. So Okay, you guys are going to have to correct me because is it Thiel or Teal? I've had several sets of these. These are great speakers, and I've heard it pronounced both ways. So you tell me down in the comments whether or not you say Teal or Thiel. I'm going to put them right there. Heavy speakers, too. You can tell those cabinets are really well made. Really liked them a lot. I really like Vandersteens a lot. They kind of remind me of Dahlquist in a way where they have they're not as suspended. The tweeter and mid-range isn't as suspended as the Dahlquist are, but it's kind of still the same philosophy where they kind of do radiate out a little bit better than a traditional box speaker. So if you ever come across Vandersteens, you definitely want to check those out. Wharfdale or Wharfadale, depending on how you say it. I've had W60s, W40s, the old sand-filled ones, and those sound incredible with the purple tweeters and everything. And then I've had some of the newer Wharfdales too, and they sound great as well. I think I'm going to go... I know this B category is really busy, but that's just the way it is. And again, with Yamaha, NS10s, NS1000s, both of those are... Well, the NS10's iconic. It's kind of it doesn't sound that great. I own a pair just because it's kind of part of recording history. I've had a set of NS1000s, and I've had several other sets of the NS series, and those are all really good. I think they kind of got cheap in the 80s and 90s a little bit like everybody else did, but in the 70s, and they're still making the NS1000s. They just started back in production again. They're just really, really expensive. They definitely deserve their spot kind of above the rest, in my opinion. At least above, Pioneer. They made some of those speakers are so good. And Polk Audio. Let me sit back and take a look at this real quick, and let me just see where I'm at here. All right, so let me just give this one last look. And it looks like I'm underrepresenting the English brands, maybe like Wharfdale and Rogers and Kef. But you have to understand I live in Des Moines, Iowa, and we just don't get a lot of those speakers here. So while the ones I've had have been great, I just don't have enough experience with them to put them up in the A list, even though I know a lot of, and B&W, obviously. I think a lot of people would have the B&Ws and the Kefs in the A category, the Rogers. But in Des Moines, Iowa, we just don't see them. So I don't want to go off other people's impressions. And so I'm going to leave them in the B category. And remember, I'm going off what I like. I'm taking that. I mean, this is totally biased. I'm going off the sound that I like, and I'm trying to be as true to that as possible. And part of me wants to put Boston Acoustics up in the A tier, believe it or not. But I really love those speakers. They sound so good, especially for the price. It's insane. I think I'm going to leave it like that. At least A and B, I think I'm going to keep the same. I almost think Mission could go up, Pioneer could go up, and Polk could go up too. Dahlquist, like I say, I've only heard the DQ10s, and so I don't feel like I just don't feel like I have the experience to really judge them that much off of one speaker. And Sansui's awfully lonely down there. I think I'm going to drop Jensen and Fisher. Well, I think that's my list. don't beat me up too bad, but I get it. You know, if you totally feel a completely different way than what I've got up here, you have every right to, just like I could feel the same way about your tier list. Again, this is just fun. And there'll be a link in the description if you want to do the list yourself. Don't forget we're having a 10% off t-shirt sale going on today and tomorrow. And so take advantage of that. You know, if you've been wanting to grab a shirt for a while, we don't run discounts very often because there's not a lot of margin on the stuff we sell. So it's very rare we do a sale. So if you are planning on grabbing a shirt or a hat, definitely do it today or tomorrow. Today's Sunday, and by the end of the day, Monday, that 10% will be gone. And next week, we've got one more speaker video coming out. I actually go over my top 5 favorite speakers of all time, my personal favorite speakers. And then we're going to move on to something else. We've been kind of on the speaker subject for a while. So definitely, check out that video next week. I think that's going to be a really fun one. I hope everybody out there is having a really good Labor Day. I know it's going to be hot. I'm planning on doing just a little bit of, barbecuing. I'm going to smoke some meat and all that kind of stuff. So, thanks for checking another video. Definitely appreciate it. Hope everybody has a great holiday and a safe one, and we'll see you next Sunday. So, thank you.